information about this place, you could visit our website www.adamerica.org.id. We have a lot of events, concerts, film festivals, workshops, all kinds of events that you can attend. It's free and also open for public. And to start our event today, we will hear an opening remarks from Ms. Kristen Bauer, charged with the affair of U.S. Embassy Jakarta. Please give a big round of applause.
Selamat datang, selamat siang, masih siang ya, betul? Well, welcome everybody. We're really delighted that you all could be here with us for this really important topic about how access to the internet can help improve lives. And we're very fortunate to have with us a very distinguished group of people who will be speaking on this topic. And I'm delighted to welcome Ambassador Daniel Sepulveda, our Deputy Assistant Secretary in the Bureau of Economic and Business Affairs, who's really a key person in the U.S. on this topic. A good friend of America, Ilham Habibie, the head of the National ICT Council. Our friends Shinto Nugroho from Google, Ruben Hattari from Microsoft, Alvin Tan from Facebook, and our moderator, Tugu Prasetya from Mastel. And of course, all of you. I know we have a lot of professionals, we have a lot of students, we have a lot of good friends of America, and we appreciate you all coming today. I want to take a moment also to give a special thank you to Shinto for co-sponsoring this event. And let's pause for just a minute and think about the internet. I don't know how many of you used your smartphone to figure out how to get here to America or accessed it while you were sitting in traffic at a macet. I think it's returned to Jakarta. And for all of you who did that on the way over, probably access to the internet is something you may take for granted. But for many people in the world, that kind of access remains a dream. Even here in Indonesia, there are still many people, especially in the remote and rural areas, who don't have internet access. So today, we've gathered together people from the private sector and from government who are trying to change this in a variety of ways. And luckily, we have a lot of examples to draw upon. In fact, earlier this month, President Obama announced his Connect Home program, which will give internet access to about 300,000 low-income U.S. households, especially for rural areas and Native American populations. In Indonesia, USAID, partnering with Kominfo and Microsoft, have a pilot project to increase connectivity to rural areas, especially in schools, health clinics, and government offices. And of course, U.S. companies like Facebook and Google also have been at the forefront of these kinds of access efforts. As President Obama put it, if we don't give young people access to what they need to achieve their potential, then it's our loss. It's not just their loss. So I hope today's talk will give all of us insights into how that access can be provided and how the internet can help Indonesia fulfill its potential. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Ms. Kirsten. Next, I would like to call up our moderator for today's, Bapak Teguh Prasetya from Mastel. Please give a big round of applause.
Thank you, and have a good afternoon, everybody. And in a short, internet has become our daily life, like Ms. Ambassador said. And as you might know, Indonesian is mostly covered by all mobile network. It's around 90% of internet user in Indonesia access to their mobile. So mobile and internet is Indonesian daily life. But even now, if you say one of the 9 basic needs of Indonesian is not only mobile airtime, but also internet access. And by this now, I would like to invite Mr. Dani Sepulveda from Ambassador Daniel Sepulveda from Bureau of Economic and Business Affairs, Deputy of Assistant Secretary, to give his remarks. Mr. Ambassador, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here at America with all of you. This is a fascinating and an impressive facility. I travel the world a lot and I do a lot of these sorts of conversations, and this is a fairly unique facility. I'd like to begin by thanking Tarjay Kristen Bauer, our moderator, and my fellow panelists for this important discussion. I'm here to talk to you today about the global internet and initiate a dialogue on how we can work together to help it flourish in Indonesia for Indonesians. As you know, more than 3 billion people and trillions of devices are now connected to the internet. That connectivity is revolutionizing how we live, how we work, how we govern ourselves, and how we play. It has shrunk the world. It has made more information accessible to more people, and it has disrupted power in politics and business alike. The internet is rapidly becoming the chief economic driver in our world, and I am happy to report that its economic and social benefits are increasingly shifting to developing nations. The internet transforms markets, enables the creation of industries, improves healthcare outcomes, and connects people in ways that would have been unimaginable only a decade ago. Internet connectivity helps bridge the gap between talent and opportunity in a manner that is unlike anything we have previously seen. But despite these promising trends, more than half of our world's population is still living without access to this global communications platform. The digital divide between the 3 billion people currently online and the 4.4 billion without the economic and social benefits of the internet is staggering. As Secretary Kerry said in Seoul this May, the United States believes that the internet should be open and accessible to everyone. In my office, we view internet connectivity as an essential component of development, just like electricity and running water. But it will take all of our collective efforts to bridge the digital divide. That's why we are determined to work with you here in Indonesia, as well as stakeholders from all over the world, to expand broadband infrastructure and create an economic environment that enables affordable internet connections. Indonesia can and should harness its impressive economic growth to realize the country's potential as a regional leader in the ICT industry. This will not only reinforce existing economic development, but will also give more invaluable opportunities to contribute to political, economic, and social discourse. Last year's creation of Indonesia's National Broadband Plan was an important first step in the process of bridging the digital divide in this country. The plan's ambitious use of the Universal Service Fund serves as a positive example for the entire ASEAN community, and it aims to connect all public sector facilities like healthcare, government offices, and school buildings as critical and vital of importance to national connectivity. But how can Indonesia continue in this positive trajectory? And who is best positioned to help Indonesia's ICT industry flourish? We have to look a little bit at history. The internet developed organically as an experiment by academics and technologists, discovering a new way to facilitate an exchange of ideas and to make new connections between people. As the internet has evolved into the critical resource that it is today, governments in particular are grappling with what in some cases boils down to an identity crisis. What is our role? What is the role of government? And how much power and control should government be able to exercise vis-a-vis other stakeholders? The way the United States sees it, governments around the world must make a choice to enable the internet's growth or to detract from it. The internet has flourished because of a bottom-up, consensus-based process that allows all stakeholders to participate in its growth and governance. No single entity, no single government, no single firm owns the internet. This market-driven, multi-stakeholder approach has served us well, and it is our strongest tool to help rapidly emerging economies like Indonesia embrace all the opportunities that the internet has to offer. Projects that combine industry with civil society and government resources are proven to be the most effective means by which to connect previously underserved communities. Microsoft's Television Whitespace project is one such initiative. Because of cooperation between Microsoft, local non-governmental organizations, and the United States and Indonesian governments, a TV whitespace pilot program is already connecting rural areas in Indonesia using previously utilized low-frequency broadband. The project is proof positive that multi-stakeholder engagement can lead to impressive infrastructure development, and we anticipate more fruitful cooperation on this project and others like it in the future. The U.S. is also eager to work with Indonesia and all countries to improve spectrum management, regulatory systems, and legal frameworks for adoption of broadband connectivity. We look forward to partnering with Indonesia as the country works to reach its ambitious connectivity goals. Together, we can create an environment in which innovation can flourish and connectivity can enrich more lives every day. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and I very much look forward to answering your questions and engaging the rest of our panelists in a dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one, I would like to invite Dr. Ilham Habibie, Chair of Indonesian National Information and Communication Technology Council, ICT Council. Please. I think better you keep that one. Can I keep this one? Nggak bisa. Okay. This one. You just sit, yes, please. This is your presentation tools. If you want to make it.
I have the impression that the time to give a full set presentation will not enough, so I just sum it up in a few words. So first of all, so just skip the presentation. Okay, maybe it's here already. So what I want to talk about, let's skip the first slide. I want to talk about what we do at the National ICT Council. It's about meaningful broadband. But first of all, I'd like to maybe, yes, I believe a lot of people here in the auditorium that we don't understand what is the National ICT Council. Well, the National ICT Council is basically, on Indonesian language, it says Dewan Teknologi Informasi dan Komunikasi Nasional. It's a government agency where you have basically two layers. The first layer would be purely government, headed by the president himself. The vice head is the Minister for Economic Coordination. Then we have a number of cabinet members being a member of DeTIKNas as well. And my direct report is basically the Minister for National Planning, the Minister for Bappenas, Dr. Andrino Chaniago. Then we have the working level. That is basically, as Ambassador Daniel Sepulveda mentioned in his speech, it's something what I would call it as a multi-stakeholder organization. We have representatives from all sectors of Indonesian society. There's people from academia, there's people from government, of course, there's people from communities and professional organizations, and there's also people like me, like myself. I'm actually a business person. And at the moment I happen to lead this working team of the DeTIKNas. But it is and remains a government agency, and we have a job to do. And our job is basically, can you go to one of these slides here? Yeah, maybe I just... Okay, this is basically our task. So just focus on the blue. We formulate general policies and strategic directions. We resolve existing strategic issues. We coordinate nationally within the central government, but also the local governments. As we know, we have about 500 plus local governments. They're all directly elected, and they all have their own ICT plans, sometimes policies, and they need to be coordinated, and it's happening as we speak, and I will talk about this more. And the fourth is approved implementation. All of these we do, but frankly speaking, the fourth one, we have never been asked to approve anything so far, but I hope that will be coming soon. I like to build upon what Ambassador Sepulveda said, and I completely agree with what the internet is meant to do for a country, for any country, and it is development of its people and the country itself. And for that we need a few things. First of all, we need access. Secondly, it needs to be affordable. Right? And I'd like to add another element on that. And that is something what we embrace in Indonesia. It needs to empower people. And you can measure that. So it's not, I mean, if you imagine a country that's completely wired, everybody has connectivity, empowerment doesn't happen automatically. I mean, in Indonesia, yes, as my colleague said very eloquently in the beginning, we have, I don't know, I think every Indonesian has at least one cell phone. And many have more, and some of those are actually already connected to the internet, so they are smartphones. But most Indonesians, if they use some of these applications that we are world leader in, I mean like Facebook #2, Twitter #5 in the world, and so on and so forth, unfortunately most of our Indonesian fellow citizens don't even know that this is the internet. This is an application that they use, but if they say, do you use the internet? No, but do you use Facebook? Yes. So meaning to say the awareness level that this is internet and they can do things with the phone is not that understood by all Indonesians. I'm talking not about us in this room in Jakarta, but I'm talking about all of Indonesia, which is not only Jakarta. So basically, that is the appropriate use. So in general, I would say that Indonesians digitally are more consumers than producers. So they don't produce for others and not also for themselves enough. And that is what I would call true empowerment. If you can use the internet for productive means. And we have in Indonesia a broadband policy, a national broadband policy called IBP, Indonesia Broadband Policy, or Indonesian language RPI, Rencana Pita Lebar Indonesia. That was implemented only in September last year. And since then, yes, we had a lot of interactions with governments all over Indonesia, how to implement that appropriately in a meaningful way. So let me go, this is basically, let me just repeat or just state that in Indonesia, the goal is to have Indonesia transitioning into a country which economy is based on information and knowledge. And for that, we have to, of course, have an infrastructure first. We have to develop the national ICT industry, and then we have the so-called 4 pillars. The ICT for government, sometimes we call it confusingly e-government, because in some countries, e-government is all of that, but in Indonesia sometimes this particular part, ICT for government, is called e-government. Then we have ICT for health, ICT for education, ICT for economics. And in the meantime, at the end of this year, we hope that we have the foundations of the AEC, or the ASEAN Economic Community, started in December. And one of the 12 sectors to be deregulated and to be implemented from the very beginning is actually ICT. ICT for products and services. So that is something I think we should pay very much attention to. My broadband, this is basically very important. The question remains, and if you ask any government officers, say 5 years ago, do we need internet in Indonesia? Yes, we need it. Why do you need it? Well, it's something nice to have. It's a telecommunication issue. You need to be connected. But it's actually much more than that. It can boost economic growth. It can improve education. It can, and there's a few numbers. I mean, the most popular number that most people know is for every 10% of broadband penetration, you have 1.38% of economic additional growth on top of what you have already. And so that is something that came out of a study of World Bank that needs to be further refined. And another study was done by Boost, is for every 10% of broadband access in any country, you have a 1.5 increase of productivity. So what I would maybe for productivity, to increase that is a very important economic goal to have. And the other one is related to education and availability of internet. There's a correlation of 0.71. So it's a positive correlation, meaning for every 1 bit more of internet access, you have also more of education quality. And so on and so forth. I mean, there's also something related to greenness of the economy for environmentally friendly processes and products. So everything is, in a way, directly or indirectly related to ICT. Therefore, governments all over the world are more and more embracing ICT, not only as a nice to have, but as a very, very basic ingredient of the ideal infrastructure of any country. In fact, what we say in Indonesia, and I think most countries would agree on that totally, broadband is not only an infrastructure, but it is the underlying infrastructure of many, which we call meta infrastructure. So this is the broadband plan that I mentioned. And I'd like to skip to the project. So what we do now is basically we are implementing broadband at a kabupaten or national, local government level. We have chosen 7 out of 500 plus as the pilot, and in those kabupatens or kotas or cities, we work directly with the leader and that particular constituency. And our experience is that in order to implement ICT the best in anywhere in the world, the thing that matters most is the appropriate e-leadership. Because ICT is such a it goes into every sector of the government, into every sector of their constituency, be it in the health sector, education sector, or what have you, in the business. So there is inherently a lot of conflict of interest. Because people have their own views, they have their own standards, they have their own targets, and in order to get that all under one hand, it's really difficult. And for that, you need strong ICT or e-leadership and vision. That is, I would say, number 1, number 2, and number 3, most important thing anywhere in the world is that vision. Everything else, once committed, remains still a challenge, but I would say it's more on the technical side rather than on the commitment side. Once it's committed and supported all the way through, there's a lot of things that are made possible. And that is, I think, what we do here in Indonesia. In fact, this pilot project, from the beginning, we do together with the World Bank. So there's a technical team that has accompanied us from day one. And we have worked in those cities and kabupatens that are green markets. You see nicely distributed from west to east. We are basically in every main island. We have an example, and the second phase is already ongoing there, and that's what we do right now. So this is in order to substantiate or to justify and to detail the Indonesia Broadband Plan that has come into place in September 2014. We know that this is a very macro plan. We need to basically detail it. We need to give examples to our many leaders in Indonesia. It's not only the President of the Republic of Indonesia, but when it comes to implementation, when it rubber hits the road, that it's the many mayors of the cities that have the budget, that have the need for ICT. It's the many regions he has. In Indonesian language we say kabupaten. They need to really implement everything, and it's up to them how to do things. Of course, there's a bottom-up approach. We need to understand what they need. There needs to be a national standard. That's what we have to do later once we understand what is the situation on the grassroots, say, and how can we make it work better by adhering to standards that really make sense. Yes, we have ideas, and yes, we have concepts, but are these justified? Do we need to alter them? Do we need to change them in order to make it as good as possible? So that's basically what we do at the National ICT Council, and already I had a discussion with Ambassador Sepulveda earlier today, and as he announced already, I firmly believe that we should work together more in the future on the regulatory sector, on the judicial framework, and also, of course, on the technology and on the business sector. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you to Mr. Ilham Habibie to give a remark, and also the not only plan but also action to do pilot project on several areas within Indonesia, 2014 and 2015. And now would like to invite Mr. Alvin Sheng Huitan from Facebook to come to the stage and give a
Thank you, Pak. Do we have great. Good afternoon, everybody. Please refrain from checking your Facebook statuses while I think Ambassador Sepulveda, we met this morning as well, and Ilham as well. You're talking about the incredible usage of Facebook in Indonesia. So I wanted to share a little bit about what we've been doing to expand and enhance connectivity. A lot of people associate Facebook with it just being a social media platform, but we are more than that, and I want to show you what we're doing globally to expand connectivity to 2/3 of the world population that haven't had internet access yet. And so this is an initiative called internet.org. It's the brainchild of Mark Zuckerberg. Interestingly enough, internet.org is 1 year old this week. So we celebrate our 1 year anniversary, and what it does, let me just press the next button. The whole purpose is to give people the power to share and make the world more open and connected. That's essentially our mandate. So there are 1.4 billion Facebook users in the world. We've connected them over the past 10 years or so. I think a lot of them are in Indonesia. In fact, Indonesia is one of our biggest markets, our biggest user base, probably about third or fourth. And I was talking to Ilham that President Jokowi is in fact the fourth most popular politician on Facebook. Yeah, close to 6 million likes behind President Obama. Hopefully can catch up. Prime Minister Modi and the President of Turkey. So we've been working with Bapak Jokowi's team as well. So many of you are on Facebook. If I can have a show of hands, how many of you have a Facebook account? Okay, so there are about 250 million Indonesians. 73 access Facebook once a month at the very least. 38 of you guys are really need to get a life because you access it once a day. And most of Facebook users are on mobile, so the platform is incredibly important. I think the proliferation of mobile is about, you have 250 million population, but about 268 mobile phones. So if you have two, then you belong to part of that demographic. I don't know what you're going to do with two mobiles, but a lot of you have two mobiles. So at least two mobiles. And now with Pak Ilham, we're saying that a lot of us, now that you have this watch as well, so thanks to Apple. So the state of connectivity, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. The world population is about 7 billion. 3 billion have access to the internet. 4 billion don't. And the whole goal of internet.org is to make sure that we can do our best to connect the rest of the 4 billion that do not yet have access to the internet. So it's my boss. And this is really his brainchild, and it's really to make the world more open and connected. We've talked about the benefits of internet connectivity. We've talked about the World Bank study. We know that internet connectivity brings significant economic as well as social benefits. These are a couple of examples. We commissioned a study together with Deloitte to look at the economic impact of connectivity and Facebook in the world. These are the figures. In APAC alone, we found that internet connectivity accounts for about 35 billion in economic activity and accounts for about 1.5 million, 1.4 million jobs in fact. So what are the barriers to connectivity? What are the barriers that prevent or hinder the 4 billion people of the world to connect to the internet? So these are the dark segments of the world are not yet connected to the internet. So there are three. The lack of infrastructure, affordability, and relevance. Relevance is effectively people don't know about the internet. Well, at the risk of being fired, well, Facebook is not the internet. It is part of the internet. And internet.org is really an initiative for us to make sure that people connect to the internet through what we're doing here. And what have we been doing? We have in Silicon Valley, in our headquarters, a connectivity lab where we have hundreds of people really dedicated to researching on how to make the world more open and connected. And then we also have been providing free basic services. I'll explain about that a little bit more. So what do we do at the Connectivity Lab? This is a lot of cool, state-of-the-art stuff. We work with satellite technology. The center thing is UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles that can beam internet connectivity and internet access to areas where it is not readily available. This is one of the projects that we have been working on. It is a UAV. It's made of carbon fiber. This is interesting because it has the wingspan of an Airbus or a Boeing 767, but it weighs less than or almost about the weight of a car. It can run for about 3 months, utilizing the power of solar, the sun. And so it flies about 20,000 feet. And it uses solar power to drive it. So, a plane could fly about a day. This flies about 3 months. This is what we have in our connectivity lab. We have lots of folks building this using carbon fiber. You guys don't get a headache, but this is effectively what we've been working on for close to about a year. So they're just fabricating the wingspan of this UAV. And this is what we've been doing. So we test-flown this UAV. This is a 1:10 scale model in the UK. And it flew pretty much in line with our expectations. We hope to do more, and we hope to have that scaled up to a tenth of the size. So these are very, blue sky technology. These are very still in the works, right? But what are we doing on the ground in Indonesia? I wanted to show this very quickly. It is called internet.org, and I don't know if we can show this. I came early to show you guys what we have been trying to do or rolling out in Indonesia. Can we show this? Just very quickly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cast my phone onto the screen using Google's Chromecast, so thank you, Shinto. And it's pretty, my friend, yeah, Shinto. So we work together. If you have an Indosat SIM, it's free to access internet.org. So if I click on Opera Mini very quickly, it gives me this whole suite of services. It's about 15 services, free basic services, and you can access tanpa pulsa. You don't have to pay for the access, right? And this week is a landmark week for us because I've been working together with KSP in President Jokowi's team, and this week we were very, very, very proud to have launched Satu Layanan, which is this. It's the first e-government free basic service in Southeast Asia. And so what happens is Satu Layanan is a one-stop portal. It's part of the Open Government Initiative. And we've worked with the government to ensure that ordinary citizens who don't have access to internet, cannot pay for internet, can access this for free. They can find out very quickly how much it costs to pay for licenses, how much it costs, where to go for to apply for permits and the likes, and it enhances transparency because right now you have the power of knowledge in your hands, and you can tell if you go to an officer, you can say, hey, it costs me, how much rupiah to access a service. So when I was speaking to the government, they're saying this enhances a virtuous cycle of transparency. It enhances a virtual cycle of enhancing government services. So this is a great tool to have. If I just go back, I don't know if we can. There are also other services that we have in internet.org. I think it's not casting anymore. But in any case, the whole point for internet.org for us is to ensure that people have basic services. And this week, we are opening up internet.org to any operator who wants to work with us. So it is not just confined to a single operator. Any operator in the world that wants to work with Facebook to access this service, to provide this service for free, can sign up at internet.org. Any developers, any promising young Indonesian developers here in the audience, if you have a very good idea and you want to incorporate it into this internet.org concept, please feel free to talk to me. I'll link you up, I'll hook you up. At this point, I just wanted to showcase one particular app. It's not here, but it's an app called Social Blood. And when we launched socialbloodinternet.org in Bangladesh. You know, a father, a husband, it's an incredible story. The husband's wife was in labor and she needed a particular type of blood.